Well, it looks like J.K. Rowling isn't the only one that can retroactively make their characters more woke. This time it's Scooby-Doo. Now, I should say, and I will always say, because you literally can't make fun of this stuff as, well, I guess as a straight person without having a vocal minority of the internet misrepresented as if you have any problem at all. They'll say, oh, you just don't like gay people or something like that. I get it all the time. I got it with She-Ra when I made fun of that. Let me be very clear. I don't care. I'm looking forward to all the Rule 34 stuff going out there, legitimately. And if Velma likes chicks, good for her, 100%. However, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't point out how ridiculous this is and just how clearly virtue signaling it is. Now, look, don't take my word for it. How about Sophia? Sophia Narwitz saying, none of this is in the show. Hollywood is just like tossing out scraps to the gays because they'll often react as if it means they're special. You can see, because they actively defend tokenism. They don't care if it's pandering. The representation is more important than how it's implemented. Why can't they give us some new characters that are gay, lesbian, trans? Why do they keep taking established characters and changing them? To be fair, no one would watch or like them because they can't write them without being obnoxious, on the nose, fourth wall breaking, so they resort to hijacking and tokenism. I mean, it's nobody's buying this. Now, except, of course, James Gunn, who wrote in a celebratory virtue signaling way, I tried. It said, someone, please make our live action lesbian Velma dreams come true. Me too. I mean, absolutely. James Gunn says, in 2001, Velma was explicitly gay in my initial script, but the studio just kept watering it down, becoming ambiguous. The version that they filmed, then nothing, the sweet released version, and finally having a boyfriend in the sequel. So here's the thing. What's more canon than what's on film? All right. So James Gunn, the director, literally said, oh, no, Velma has a boyfriend. Now, if you wanted to make the argument that Velma was bi, I think that would have been smarter, simply because there's just so much history. I mean, I went deep, boys and girls. I went into the Scooby-Doo wiki to just look at some of the love interests totally gay Velma has had. Bo Neville, a detective investigating the Monsker Island disappearance. Initially, he and Velma very much just like each other, but by the end of their stay, seemed to be getting along very well, especially when he said that he wanted to write detective novels, although she made it clear that it was detective novels she liked and not the particular detective himself. How about Ben Ravencroft, a famous author of horror stories? He initially appeared kind of a bit shy, and he and Velma developed feelings for each other. But once she saw the greedy, cruel, power-hungry person he was, she became genuinely angry and did everything she could to stop him. Okay? Still showed interest in Ben. Chip Hernandez, a vain actor. Gibby Norton, a lab partner from science camp. Jameson Stephen Ripley, another actor wrapped in the medieval TV character he once played. George, the local mailman. Guy Laverton, a French movie star. Ranger Knudsen, a ranger. Windsor, a crooked paleontologist who she forgave as she genuinely liked him. He was essentially a male version of Velma. That's more than a handful of male love interests. And of course, you know, the on-screen love interest that was Shaggy. We can look at some of these comments. I knew it. I had heard somewhere Velma dating Shaggy was canon. Why is the Hollywood elites turning everything this way? Nothing wrong with someone being that way, but it seems they're trying to make themselves relevant by saying this character is gay, so love me because I have these type of characters in my shows and movies. Calling it now, Rule 34 spike in posts of her on 4 or 8 or whatever. Venture Brothers called this years ago, or Scooby because, you know, he's tapping that. Shaggy is trans. Oh, okay. Well, that makes interest. Here's another scene where Velma kisses Sam, another male character. She's dated and or had romantic entanglements. Is that the word you say it? Romantic entanglements with men in the very beginning of the show. Ooh, here you go. Oh no, Shaggy did find out. Oh no. I mean, uh, CBR would celebrate that. Yeah, hold up. I watched a show years ago. Didn't Velma and Shaggy have a thing for like an entire show? They dated and they just retconned all that. LGBT characters in shows is a good thing, but it's not the way to do it. This just reeks of corporate pandering. Why didn't they do this in, by the way, why didn't they do this in June? Why didn't they come out and do it during Pride Month? That seems odd. And again, because it being a lesbian is important for investigating criminals wearing rubber masks. Well, I mean, there are love interests in the show. It's not as if there isn't that stuff going on, but it's interesting to me. Here you have CBR saying, yes, Scooby-Doo Mysteries Incorporated Velma is a lesbian. Producer confirms. The producer confirms it. Oh, okay. That probably wasn't even alive when the show was first created, but I mean, Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated producer Tony Cervone, or Cervoni, just because it sounds funnier, confirmed a long-standing fan theory by explaining that the show's incarnation of classic Scooby-Doo character Velma Dinkley was in fact written as a gay woman. What fan theory? Cervone interjected during an argument between two Scooby-Doo fans in the comment section of an Instagram post, which had depicted Velma and the character Marcy Fletch in a romantic relationship. One commenter decried the post on the grounds that Mystery Inc. saw Velma in a relationship with Shaggy Rogers, while another cited previous relationships with the show pertaining to how Velma and Marcy were ostensibly both bi, and how there were plans for Velma to break up with Shaggy. Two people who didn't work on the show talking about it, obviously. It's at this point when he chimed in. I've said this before, but Velma in Mystery Inc. is not bi. She's gay, the producer wrote. We always planned on Velma acting a little off and out of character while she was dating Shaggy because the relationship was wrong for her, and she had an unspoken difficulty with the why. There are hints about why in the episode with the mermaid, and if you follow the entire Marcy arc, it seems clear. It seems as clear as we would make it 10 years ago. Despite apparently not being allowed by the network to address Velma's orientation in more explicit terms at the time, because Mr. Inc. ran from 2010 to 2013. Cervone explained, I don't think Marcy and Velma had time to act on their feelings during the main timeline, but post-reset, they are a couple. You cannot like it, but that was our intention. Well, I'm real happy for Velma. I mean, I'm happy that she's found out who she is, and I do think it's just funny. It's funny. Who cares, right? Ultimately, it's a cartoon, and what this really is it's not actually Velma. It's just Velma in this one storyline, in a one random 3-season show. And you can see here, retcon, she had male love interest. Every time, and then you get people, these are the people that, you know, love this stuff. Every time a female character who is lusted over by straight men gets confirmed as lesbian, I get extremely happy. So it's not actually about representation, is it then? It's about owning the straights. No, it's not everybody. But, I mean, they won't stop till every straight white character is, yeah, that's a spicy one, gay and black. Well, don't forget, like, in a wheelchair. Oh, I like this, you know, that. I hope I remember to cut that out. There's a little surprise when you click this. And then, of course, the circle of diversity always rings true. We demand to be included in your space to make it more diverse and inclusive, into we demand you change this space to our liking and ban stuff that offends us, into we demand you be kicked out of the space we created since you offended us. Lol, if you hate it, why don't you make your own space? And the circle continues. I mean, ultimately, who cares? I mean, I'd say you'd probably want to say she's bi, but this character, how about this character that has a long canonical here, I don't know about that, Chief. She liked Shaggy on that show and they even kissed. That was during that specific show, by the way. Shaggy know the truth. Did any child watching Scooby-Doo ask, no, now or at any point since the show's character existed? And then you're getting lots of people pointing this, tripping, here's this. J.K. Rowling level of hackery. Even Rowling wasn't this shameless, and she actually had an excuse to not reveal Dumbledore being gay. It wasn't part of the story, and Dumbledore was a peripheral character. Velma is a main character. If she was intended to be a lesbian, it would have been said or clearly appeared in canon. Here's a list of Velma's significant others. Patrick, Shaggy Rogers, Sam Winchester. How about they write out well-thought-out LGBT characters with genuine character development instead of slapping a label on an already established character and trying to claim brownie points? So that's really what this is about. They're not going to show her in this light, just like James Gunn was fishing for retweets. He didn't do anything. He might have proposed it, but it didn't end up that way. And if you wanted credit, maybe you should have said something in 2012 when you were cashing those checks. If you wanted credit, then you should have come out at that time and said that. You don't get credit now going back and saying, oh, well, actually, surprise, you, the reader, are in fact gay and have been this whole time. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.